So check this out. I picked up this 420cc big block for $171 shipped. So that was pretty cool. It came with free shipping. So we'll see what we got here. And I'm not sure the quality of this engine or what it's all about, but I guess we'll find out. It's definitely packaged pretty well. It has some nice tight packaging. And that's some really good packaging. Look at that, it's got like 1/2-inch plywood on all sides with the styrofoam. So that was pretty good. This thing looks pretty nice for 171 bucks. So 15 horse. Of course, you got the 1-inch shaft. I mean, it looks really similar to a Predator 420. So it comes with the owner's manual, toolkit. You got the kill switch on the blower housing. Then I picked up a 1-inch clutch, and I grabbed this off of Amazon. I think it was around 20 or 25 bucks. So we're into this whole package here for less than 200 bucks. For the bike that I'm gonna put it on, I'm not gonna need this tank, so that'll definitely give me a lot more room. And then I can get rid of the air box and the exhaust if I have to, because I'm gonna try to fit it on this Coleman CT200U-EX. And I figured this would be a perfect bike for it because it already has a 40 sprocket. I mean, I'm not gonna need that big of a sprocket with that much torque, and it's not gonna turn a lot of RPM because it's totally stock, but it has major torque. So I figured with the 40 sprocket, it should be a pretty good setup. And then another cool thing about this bike, it already has the tank, the gas tank inside the fake tank. So I can use that instead of the tank that's on the engine. So that'll definitely help me out with some room. And another cool thing, this bike's already upgraded with disc brakes on the front and back. So I think this will be a pretty good setup for a big block. So I'll pull the 212 off this Coleman bike, and then we'll see what kind of mounting setup I'm gonna have to come up with. I mean, it looks like it might be fairly straightforward or fairly easy, but we'll find out. So we got the small block and then the big block. The big block doesn't look too much bigger. I mean, once you get the tank off of here, and maybe the air box and the exhaust, it'll look a lot smaller. And its tank makes it look so much bigger than it really is. So that makes it look a lot smaller. Pull the stock exhaust off of here too, because this thing is huge. I don't think there's no way that thing's gonna fit on there. Might as well just use a header pipe or something. That thing fits nice on there. You throw the clutch on here and line up that chain. I'll figure out where I need to drill. I think I'm gonna grind this mount off first for the torque converter on the small block, because it's kind of in the way. There we go. Let's grind a little bit of that off. Now we have a nice straight motor mount without anything in the way. Fill this thing up here on this stand, make it a lot easier to drill out those holes. With the engine on there and all the way up to the front, you can see that it needs maybe like a 1/2 inch or an inch of metal here. So the motor mount will have something to bolt to. So I think I'm just gonna extend it out just a little bit, maybe a couple inches with a piece of steel here. And that way I can back the engine up a little bit if I want. Now that should work. That'll give me a lot more mounting surface. And now I can move the engine back. So I got the chain on there all lined up. motor or the engine bolted down, and I can tighten the or tension the chain here with the tensioners on the back wheel, even with the disc brake on there, which is cool. So I got the throttle cable hooked up, and I hooked it to the governor rod just as a temporary throttle setup, because I'm going to ultimately run a slide carb on here, and I didn't want to cut the slide cable, so that'll work. And I got the fuel line hooked up, and then I hooked up the kill switch, and then I bypassed the low-level oil sensor here. So I bypassed that and just hooked up the kill switch and then the handlebar kill switch. So instead of using this giant air box, I'm gonna go ahead and use a filter adapter, because this air box is huge, even if I could fit it on here. And we might gain a little performance, even though it probably won't need it to melt this clutch, but we'll see. Yeah, that's a lot better. So the stock big block air box is just a little bit too big for this frame. I mean, slightly too big. So I picked up this header pipe. That should work pretty good on there. This exhaust is about as big as the back of the bike, so I'm thinking this header pipe will probably work a little bit better. Yeah, that'll work out. So that looks pretty good on there, and it leaves me plenty of room if I want to put a muffler on here, or a baffle, to quiet it down. And then I added my 3D Motorsport clutch guard. So that was a fairly straightforward swap. I mean, easier than I thought it would be. So now I'll see if I can fire it up. And if it does fire up, I'll take it out and we'll see if we can smoke that clutch. I mean, it's bad enough using a straight chain on a big tire small block bike. So with all this torque, I'll be surprised if this clutch lasts through one video with that 40 sprocket, but we'll see. So I'll choke this and hopefully she fires up. That clutch is going to get super hot. It stalls really high. And when this clutch grabs, you can feel some serious torque. This thing has like major torque. If this thing had a torque converter, it'd be crazy. Yeah, the engine runs really good. But I can smell that clutch. It does not like it. But you can tell it has a lot of torque, because when it does grab, it pulls really hard, even with a 40 sprocket. So this thing with a torque converter will be awesome. Yeah, you can hear that thing. It stalls way up there. Man, this thing has a decent top speed, even stock. Oh wow, this thing's got all kinds of torque. This thing's got a really good top speed. I think this thing will pump off 60 miles an hour. Totally stock. Or more. Oh, this thing's got a crazy top speed for being totally stock. It's just that clutch. Oh man, it does not like it. Man, when that thing grabs, man, you can feel the torque. It's gonna smoke that clutch. So the clutch is still smoking. Man, that engine runs fantastic. I mean, it did 62 miles an hour with the clutch totally slipping. When that clutch does engage just a little bit, man, that thing pulls. Even up there at like 40 or 50 miles an hour, you can feel it pull. And it's crazy it pulls that hard with a 40 sprocket. I mean, that's a lot of torque. So with a torque converter, this thing will be straight up dangerous. I think it'll pull the front end like so easy. And then I might have to add a cam and a billet rod and all that stuff.